Greetings, YouTube. Authorities here, and this week I'll be giving you my first thoughts on the movie Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. Now, this won't be a full review, it'll just be my first thoughts, so don't get offended if I say something you disagree with or you don't like, but feel free to comment about it down below. There'll be some slight spoilers ahead, and with that said, let's start with Nerd Rant. Nerdy rants from a nerdy guy. Alright, so for those of you who don't know, Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Sea of Monsters, the movie, is based on a book by the same title written by Rick Riordan. It's the second book in the series, and it's also the second movie in the series. Now, the first movie, which was Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Lightning Thief, fell as horrible, completely didn't follow the plot, well, slightly followed the plot, but wasn't that great, and every person who read the books absolutely hated it. And I was glad to see that the sequel did a lot better than this. It was directed by Thor Fjordenthal. I'm sorry if I butchered your name. And it was a really strong cast. I mean, they had some big actors like Nathan Fillion and Anthony Head. Nathan Fillion playing Hermes and Anthony Head playing Chiron, or Charon, however you want to pronounce it. The movie stayed pretty long with the plot of the book. So if you read the book, you know the story. And it's really interesting. It was nice to see growth of some of the characters, like Percy. But to me, it was sad that you didn't see growth in other characters such as Annabeth or Grover, or any other of the main characters from the old ones. Really, to be honest, like some of the positives of this was that it stayed with the plot of the book. It was really good casting for the new characters, like Clarice. She was played by Livin Rambin. Sorry if I butchered your name as well. But no, she did really well as Clarice. Like, it gave me a whole new look on the character, gave me more of an insight on the character than I had pictured her. But I had one problem with her. The character, like, if you've seen The Hunger Games, like the movie The Hunger Games, you will get the feeling that Clarice is a lot like Katniss. So I felt like this would have been, they kind of were taking that sort of character idea and putting it into the Clarice character. But still, it's pretty good when you looked past that one point. Let's see what else. Nathan Fillion actually was who played Hermes, made a reference to Firefly. It's in a scene where Percy and everyone's going on their quest, and they meet Hermes, and Hermes is giving them stuff to give for their quest. So they give him a thermos, which is is a Hercules thermos, and he's like, it's based on some TV show. I forget the name right now of what it was, but he says, yeah, it was a great show, everyone loved it, but got canceled after 6 episodes, which, if you've watched Firefly, it got canceled with the same thing. So it was cool to see that Nathan Fillion made references to his own stuff. Let's see. Special effects on some of the monster stuff were really cool and really realistic looking. Like, they weren't, like, I've seen movies, like, I'll give Doctor Who, since I'm a nerd, that gives a lot of bad negative, that gives some bad special effects. Alright, so I've given a lot of positive. Here's some of the negatives though. I had this one huge problem. I studied Greek mythology and stuff. I'm a nerd of that, and it bugged me because they gave the story of Kronos, which is like the big Titan or whatever. Talked about his story of how he was defeated, and they got it wrong. Like, it said the big three, which is Poseidon, Zeus, and Hades, all survived him from being eaten like the rest did. But that's not true. What happened was Zeus was the only one to survive because his mother gave Kronos a rock instead. So it bugged me for probably 10 minutes after that scene that they said that the 3 survived. No, because I think Kronos was smart enough to realize after 2 kids being rocks or whatever they tricked with, the third ones, they wouldn't fall for 3 times, I think. See, what other negatives were there? See, I have it written. the Cyclops fight on the island in the Sea of Monsters, it was just kind of more that general action one. You fight, slash, and there's not really much point to it. Unlike in the book where they use the story of Odysseus when he outsmarted the Cyclops, saying being invisible and saying I'm nobody, and the Cyclops going crazy. He's like, "You have to be somebody. Who are you?" Saying I am nobody. They kind of took that away, so it kind of bugged me a bit, but it was still a good scene anyway. Either way. Oh, Tyson, which if you don't know the plot, is he's a Cyclops and Percy's half brother. And what was interesting was with the sunglasses on, how the character looks, remind me of how I pictured Ares when reading the book. So I found that kind of funny and interesting. Um, the Princess Andromeda, which is the big yacht that Luke is on, which Luke's like one of the big villains in the series, was a lot smaller than they made it sound in the book. Like when I read the book, I thought it was like a Carnival cruise line, but no, it was like that normal stereotypical little rich guy yacht. So that was kind of weird. Because the whole time I'm like, this should be a lot bigger than what it is. But oh well, that's just my personal thought. Um, Othalia, and it, daughter of Zeus, and here's a spoiler. She ends up dying in the very beginning of the movie, and she comes back with the golden fleece on top of her, and she comes back. And I found it hilarious that her clothes, like she died when she was like 7. She's probably about 14 now, and her clothes grew with her, and they're the exact correct size, no tightness, no nothing. I'm like, that doesn't make any sense whatsoever. But oh well, I'm just like, that's kind of funny. Oh, a huge thing is that as I'm noticing this, they're trying to make Percy Jackson into this like kind of like a Harry Potter esque series where it's like the 3 friends are always gonna be together, rescuing, saving the day, and they're just gonna go on and fight together, and they're just not gonna separate them apart. And that's kind of a lot what Harry Potter does, and they're trying to make that feel of it in the movies, which I like, but as a Harry Potter nerd, nothing's going to really replace Harry Potter. Um, Oh, another thing was I noticed a lot of it, like the undertone of the story, other than the big plot, which is a cool thing for the kids. There's a lot about being politically correct, like not racist or anything. Because like the entire time anyone would say the word Cyclops, they'd be like, no, the politically correct term is optically impaired. It's like, okay, I guess that's so the adult meaning into it. Um, see, I don't have. Oh, one thing that also seriously bugs me was characters would just okay, not a spoiler. Characters would die, but they wouldn't be dead enough for you to be like, "Oh no, they died." You'd be like, "Okay, let's see. Let's just wait a couple minutes. They'll be back. It's cool." And it just bugged me the entire time. I'm like, these are characters I loved in the book and felt bad if they got killed or hurt or anything. But here they're just like, oh, I'm dead for a mix. Okay, it's like a basically it feels like a video game. It's like, oh, dead for 30 seconds. I'll respond. I'm back. Nothing happened. So that's another thing that bugged me about it. And now it's time for my final thoughts. When The Lightning Thief came out, it were off the Percy Jackson movies as a whole. As I watched The Sea of Monsters, I was glad to see how greatly improved the series had become and how spot on it was with the source material. Thanks for watching, and feel free to subscribe. And as always, this is Nerd Rant, nerdy rants from a nerdy guy. I'll see you next week.